Have you ever just clicked on a totally normal, everyday website and wondered what kind of story is hiding behind it? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're going to start with something as simple as a dripping faucet, and believe me, we're going to end up somewhere you would never, ever expect.
It sounds a little weird, right? I mean, what on earth could a plumber's website possibly tell us about history? But as you're about to see, sometimes the most ordinary things, they can open a door to a story that's way deeper and way more complicated than you'd think.
Okay, so let's start with a scene we can all relate to. Picture this. It's the middle of the night, you're sound asleep, and then you hear it, that awful sound of a burst pipe. Total panic, right? You grab your phone and you start searching for help, and you find a site that lists all the usual suspects for plumbing disasters.
And then you find it, a company like this one. The name says it all, Emergency Plumbing, available 24/7. Perfect. This is exactly what you need. They seem reliable, straightforward. They're gonna save the day.
So you do a quick scan, you check them out. Highly skilled, licensed, insured, always available, years of experience. Yep, they check all the boxes. Looks like a totally professional, trustworthy business. So far, so normal. There's no big story here. Or is there?
Because here's the thing, every business, every service has a service area, a place they call home. And that brings up the most important question for our little journey. Where are all these pipes actually being fixed?
And boom, there it is on the website. They serve Deerfield, Illinois, and the North Shore suburbs of Chicago. Just like that, our story has a real setting. We've gone from a random problem to a very specific place, Deerfield.
So what is Deerfield? Well, it's a village, a classic American suburb on the very affluent North Shore of Chicago. And to really get what happens next, we need to build a quick profile of this town.
First off, how big is it? Well, as of 2020, the population is just under 20,000 people. So, it's a pretty small, probably tight-knit community.
Now, this is where it starts to get really interesting. Look at that number. A median household income of over $143,000. That tells you right away that this is a very, very wealthy area.
And the per capita income, it just drives that point home. Deerfield is pretty much always on the list of the wealthiest places, not just in Illinois, but in the entire Midwest.
It's also a major corporate center. I mean, you've got the headquarters of huge companies like Walgreens right there. So the picture we're getting is of a prosperous, successful, and pretty influential American town. But what's really going on beneath that shiny surface?
Let's jump into a quick timeline of the town's history. There are some really fascinating moments here. It was once proposed as a new U.S. capital city. There was a tragic Navy plane crash. The world's largest Sara Lee bakery was built there. But hang on a second. Look at that entry for 1959. A controversial housing development is stopped. That sounds a little understated, don't you think?
Yeah, what was that controversy all about? This is the one little thread that, when you pull it, starts to unravel the whole story of this quiet little suburb and reveals something way more complicated.
Get this. In the national news at the time, Deerfield was actually given a nickname, a really powerful and provocative one, the Little Rock of the North. Wow. Okay, that tells you immediately that whatever happened in 1959 was not just some small-town zoning dispute. This was part of a much, much bigger national story.
So here's the heart of it. A developer started building a new subdivision, and the plan was to make about a dozen of those new homes available for African-American families to buy. But when the town officials found out about this plan, they shut down all construction and the entire community just erupted.
And to really understand the context here, you have to look at these numbers from back then. Out of a population of almost 12,000 people, the black population of Deerfield was just 12 individuals. That data right there, it paints a pretty stark picture of what was going on.
So how did it all end? Well, the village used its civic power. The residents passed a referendum to condemn the land where the houses were being built, to turn it into public parks. And that, effectively, was the end of the integrated housing project.
And this brings us all the way back to where we started, with the plumber. A plumber's job is to make a house work, right? They fix the leaks, they clear the drains, they maintain all those complex, hidden systems that make a building a livable space.
But see, the hidden systems of a town, its history, its decisions, its controversies, those are the systems that determine who even gets the chance to live in that house in the first place. A plumber might maintain the home, but it's the history that maintains the neighborhood.
And that leaves us with one last thought.
A simple search for a 24/7 plumber in the Chicago suburb led us straight to a really defining moment in the American civil rights movement. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other profound stories are just waiting to be discovered right beneath the surface of the most ordinary websites in your own community?